in Luke 14, verse 25, it says, "Now great crowds accompanied him, and he turned to them and he says, 'Hey, if anyone comes to me and doesn't hate his own father, mother, wife, children, brothers, sisters, yes, even his own life, he can't be my disciple. And whoever doesn't bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple.'" Jesus says something very strong. Again, there's a crowd. The crowd's with him, and now the crowd's following him. And Jesus doesn't say, "Man, this is great. Look at all of these people. Come back next week and bring a friend." No, he looks at the crowd. He doesn't get excited. He gets skeptical. He goes, "Wait, I'm not sure you're all supposed to be here. Are you in the right place? Because you can't really follow me unless you hate your father, mother, wife, kids, your own life. You ready to pick up a cross and die with me? If not, you're in the wrong room. That seminar's over there." You see, if Jesus were here, he would walk out those doors and say, "Look, I'm going out there, and if you want to follow me, it could be that when you walk out those doors, you never see your family again. You still want to follow me? In fact, it could be, if we walk out those doors, there may be, down on the street, there might be a bunch of crosses, and I may be asking you to walk downstairs, grab one of these crosses with me, pick up your cross, follow me, and we're going to get tortured together. You still want to go? And then we're going to be nailed to these crosses. You're going to pick up your own cross, and you're going to be nailed. You still want to follow me? He goes, "Because unless you're willing to go the whole way, you can't be my disciple." And he makes it very clear in the next verse. He says, he goes, "Come on." He goes, "Which of you, desiring to build a tower, doesn't first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he's laid a foundation and isn't able to finish, all who see it will begin to mock him, saying, 'This man began to build and he wasn't able to finish.'" He goes, "Come on." He goes, "If you're going to build a tower, you're going to sit down and think through, okay, do I have enough money? Do I really want to give all of this to this building?" He goes, "Because I don't want you stopping halfway." Jesus says, "You got to count the cost." He goes, "You could lose everything." It's a message that we need to give to our students. To say, "Listen, you know what? I can't promise you that you'll be able to keep your same friends. I'm not sure they'll still keep following you if you follow Jesus. I don't know, you might be lonely. You might lose your popularity. You might lose this relationship. You might have your own parents hate you." I think we've all run into that when kids of other religions come. You go, "Man, but is Jesus that beautiful to you? You got to count the cost. Can you give everything up for him?" He goes, "Otherwise, you don't follow me." I mean, you guys read yourself. Tell me if I'm making something up here. But I'm just reading and go, "Man, that's what Jesus called for." And then he goes, then he gives another illustration, just in case you don't believe it. He goes, or what king going out to encounter another king in war, won't he first sit down and deliberate whether he's able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? And if not, the other is yet a way off. He sends a delegation and asks for terms of peace. So therefore, if any of you who does not renounce all that he has, he cannot be my disciple. He goes, "Okay, you get the tower illustration? You sure you're willing to go all the way with me? Otherwise, don't start this Christianity thing and then leave halfway. Once you go, 'Oh, I didn't know it was going to be this hard.'" He goes, "It's like going to war. You don't start the battle and go, 'I should have never done this.'" He goes, "Think about it ahead of time." I love this battle analogy. I love this war analogy, because we've forgotten what Christianity is. We forget that we're a part of an army. And that's why there's so much complaining when it gets difficult, because we thought, "Well, I thought Christianity was going to be this. I thought it was going to be that." And so we complain because things don't go the way we thought they were going to, because someone misled us and told us this life was going to be full of good things and easy things and fun things rather than suffering like Jesus said it would be. And start complaining. I mean, can you imagine if a soldier was in the middle of a battle and he comes running to the general or the commanding officer? He comes running in out of the battlefield and goes, "Man, those guys are shooting things at me. this up. This guy threw this thing and it exploded everywhere. You just go, well, what do you expect? We're in a war here. And I get these people who go to church and they complain about this. It's so difficult. This is so... You guys, we're at war. And Jesus says, do you understand this? Because this is where we're going. We may go to the cross. You don't get nailed to the cross. Go, that really hurt. What was that about? Another nail? You just go, man, this is what you signed up for. And then finally, this is weird. So he goes, if anyone doesn't renounce all that he has, can't be my disciple. Then he says a really weird thing. I didn't get it when I first read it, because then he goes, salt is good. What? Okay, salt is good, but if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It's of no use, either for the soil or for the manure pile. It's thrown away. He who has ears, let him hear. So after the analogy of building this tower, he goes, don't just go halfway and quit on me. And he goes, and don't, sign up for this battle unless you're ready to die for it. Then he goes, salt is good, though. And he gives this, and I'm trying to figure it out, and then I go, oh, okay. Here's what he says. He goes, but if salt loses its saltiness, what can you do with it? Okay, it's just a question. Okay, suppose you have a pile of salt that has no flavor. He goes, what would you do with that? He goes, there's nothing I can do with it. He says it's no good. What does he say? It's no use either for the soil. He goes, if you put flavorless salt in soil, it's just going to mess up the soil, right? And he says this white powder stuff, he goes, it's not even good enough for the manure pile. He goes, manure, at least you can use to fertilize stuff, but this white powder with no flavor, what are you going to do with that? You throw in the manure pile, it's going to ruin the manure. And I realized, do you see what Jesus is saying? He's saying, look, if you may look like salt, you may be another body in this pile. He goes, but if you don't have the flavor, if you don't have the flavor to go all the way with me, if you don't have the flavor to pick up your cross and follow me, go into war knowing you're going to die with me, to build the tower all the way, he goes, then what use would I have for you? He goes, I don't know what to do with those of you who aren't ready to go to the cross with me. I don't have a use for you. You're like flavorless salt. I don't know what to do. I can't throw you in the dirt. And then when he says you're not even fit for the manure pile, do you understand what he's saying there? Jesus is saying you would ruin crap. So if I had a pile of crap and you're standing, I'm like, get off, you're ruining my crap. Because I have use for that. At least that can fertilize soil. But you, this half-committed, you're not willing to go to the cross. You're not willing to build the whole tower. You're not willing to go to the war to the end. You're not willing to renounce everything you have. He goes, I don't have use for you. I'm not going to water and fertilize you. See, this is the commitment Jesus called for. I think we all know it when I read the Bible. When you read it alone, it's just, okay, now what do I do? Because it doesn't make sense. I mean, for example, let's say this is salt, okay? Let's say this is real salt, okay? Pretend you got some real salt here, okay? Just a little bit of real salt, okay? You got a little bit of real salt. Can you see it? There you go. This is the real stuff. It tastes like salt. It works like salt. But then let's say I've got a bunch of this flavorless salt, okay? In this cup is a bunch of salt, let's say, that has no flavor. Okay? You got that? Real salt, flavorless salt. Who in their right mind would take the flavorless salt and go like this and mix it in with the real salt? What would be the point in doing that? Is there a point in doing that? There is. So you can walk around and go, look at my pile. Look how big it is. Look how big my pile is. I got a big old pile. But a pile of what? See, I realize I like this. I like having a big pile so I can show everyone. So look what I made. I like big crowds. I cannot lie. And you youth pastors can't deny. It's just more fun, isn't it? To just have a big pile, a big crowd. I don't want just a few little followers. I don't want a dozen. I don't want this. I don't want that. And Jesus goes, man, but don't you understand? Jesus, when he saw the crowds, he goes, I don't have use for all of you. In fact, I don't even know what to do with all of you. You got this half-committed thing. You're not willing to go to the cross. You can't be my disciple. And I know some of you are going, well, okay, but isn't there a difference between a disciple and a Christian? Man, I don't see it. And even if there was, Jesus told me to go out and make disciples who are willing to obey everything that he taught. And he didn't end the sentence by saying, but if you can't do that, then just make Christians.